Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Six Path Weeb, and today we're diving into a thought-provoking what-if scenario. What if Naruko walked the path of cold resolve? A journey that reshapes not only her destiny, but the bonds, choices, and battles that define the shinobi world. Disclaimer: this content is purely for entertainment and discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credit belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, let's get started. The story of Naruko. It was a chilly day in Konoha, and soft rain cascaded over the village. Most people preferred to remain inside, warm and comfortable. The only ones braving the weather were the students making their way to the academy. Walking alongside her cousin, Sabaku no Naruko reflected on what awaited them that day. Her cousin, Namikaze Natsume, quietly hoped they would be placed on the same team. The two were often mistaken for sisters, both with striking red hair. The difference lay in Naruko's unique seafoam green eyes and Natsume's violet gaze. Naruko was widely recognized as the sole wielder of gold dust, a gift passed down by her father, who ensured she could control it even while living away from her birthplace. Natsume wore a black trench coat over a dark shirt bearing a silver emblem, paired with black shinobi trousers and white sandals. Her reddish-orange fingerless gloves contrasted her attire, and a kunai holster rested securely at her hip. Naruko, meanwhile, was dressed in a deep brown trench coat layered over a light shirt marked with the Suna insignia, light trousers, and sturdy black boots. At her side hung a small gourd, sealed within which was her signature gold dust. As they made their way through the rain, Naruko kept an observant eye. Recently, she had noticed Mizuki-sensei showing an unusual amount of interest in Natsume, something that unsettled both her and the nine-tailed fox sealed within her. Though Naruko carried the great power of the Kyubi no Kitsune, she bore the responsibility with resilience, just as her younger sibling lived with the presence of Shukaku. Natsume worried about Mizuki's persistent attention. She silently hoped that he would remain focused on his duties as an instructor, rather than on her. What mattered most to her was the possibility of being placed on a team with Naruko, the cousin who treated her as an equal, not as someone fragile. At the academy. Upon entering the classroom, Naruko and Natsume noticed that Uchiha Suki was already seated. While the village perceived Suki as withdrawn and brooding, Naruko and Natsume knew her true self, a clever and determined kunoichi who carried the pride of her clan in her own unique way. Suki valued her friendships with Naruko and Natsume deeply, though she often masked her feelings behind a calm facade. As the classroom filled, Mizuki entered with an air of self-importance. His gaze immediately searched for Natsume, but Naruko's sharp eyes caught the look and instinctively her gold dust stirred, spreading silently across the ceiling. Though Mizuki dismissed it, the sight of the glowing particles created an unspoken warning. When Iruka entered shortly afterward, the room fell quiet. He explained the procedures for the Jinan exams, beginning with a written test. Naruko quickly noticed a concealed genjutsu covering her paper. With a precise chakra pulse, she dispelled the illusion and completed the authentic exam with ease. Her sharp mind did not miss Jiraiya, who had been hidden above the ceiling as part of the ruse, and she gave him a mischievous grin when she cleverly exposed him with her gold dust trick. Afterward, Naruko, Natsume, and Suki sat outside together, discussing their hopes of being assigned to the same squad. They had been close since childhood, their teamwork as natural as breathing. The sparring tests. When the sparring portion of the exam began, Iruka explained that the written test was only a small fraction of their overall performance. The real measure of skill lay in demonstration. First, Natsume was called to spar against Mizuki. With quick reflexes and precise movements, she avoided his advances and countered with agility, landing a roundhouse kick that sent him tumbling safely out of bounds. Her display of technique earned impressed murmurs from her classmates. Next came Uchiha Suki, who displayed her intelligence and tactical prowess by outmaneuvering Iruka during their match. Her calm strategy ensured her victory within minutes. Finally, Naruko stepped into the ring opposite Mizuki. The arena floor shimmered faintly with her gold dust, though she controlled it carefully. Mizuki, unsettled but determined, moved forward, only for Naruko to demonstrate graceful yet firm taijutsu. She struck with precision, using the entire match to showcase her control. When the time limit ended, Mizuki was clearly exhausted while Naruko remained calm, even taking a moment to assist him back to his feet with courtesy. The hidden strength of friends. As the exams continued, the rest of the class performed well. Some surprised the instructors with newfound confidence and skill. Even Sakura, often underestimated, revealed she had been training in secret, unveiling her true strength with determination and pride. Naruko smiled at her classmate's growth, feeling inspired. Later, within her inner mindscape, she spoke with Kurama. "Do you think I'm ready to learn more?" she asked. Kurama's deep voice rumbled in reply. "You're progressing well, Naruko. Your Jiten abilities, the power to manipulate minerals and metals, are extraordinary. With training, you will master not only gold dust, but also new paths such as iron sand and advanced elemental releases. But patience is key. Your strength lies not just in your abilities, but in your heart and discipline." Naruko nodded firmly, ready to continue her journey, not for herself alone, but alongside Natsume and Suki, bound by friendship, trust, and dreams of protecting those they cherished. Naruko sighed softly, then glanced toward the transformed Sakura. "Wow," she murmured under her breath before letting out another small sigh. With a playful flick of her gold dust, she tapped Jiraiya on the head, more in mischief than annoyance. Iruka, meanwhile, gathered the students and began leading them toward the throwing range. When they arrived, they noticed someone already waiting. The entire group brightened when they realized it was none other than the Hokage himself, watching them with interest. "Oh! Yondaime-sama, I didn't expect you to be here today," Iruka exclaimed, surprised by the legendary shinobi's presence. "Relax," Minato said kindly, his tone light-hearted. "I decided it was about time I observed the village's newest generation of Genin. Don't let me make you nervous, just carry on as usual. And where's Jiraiya?" "Currently covered in gold dust," Naruko replied calmly. "I thought he could use some extra time to reflect." She shrugged innocently while Minato's sweat dropped at her casual response. "Well, that does sound like Jiraiya," Minato chuckled. "Why don't you start us off, Naruko?" "All right," Naruko agreed, stepping forward to the line. She selected her special kunai, forged with heavier metals than the standard ones. With a graceful throw, she directed them toward the targets, subtly guiding their path with her magnetic release. Every blade landed perfectly at the bullseye. With a small gesture, the kunai floated back into her hand. "How was that?" she asked. Iruka quickly tallied her score. A flawless 10 out of 10. "Impressive, Naruko. But could you explain why your kunai are different and how you managed to retrieve them so easily?" "My ability is called Jiten, my personal Kekai Genkai," Naruko explained clearly. "I use kunai made of heavier metal so I can charge them more effectively. Then I simply draw them back to me with the same technique. How else did you think I was controlling my gold dust?" The crowd looked amazed, murmuring among themselves. "I thought it was because of the fox," several said in unison. Then someone asked curiously, "Hokage-sama, did you already know about this?" "Yes," Minato confirmed gently. "It's a bloodline from her father's side." "Her father?" Iruka asked cautiously. "The Yondaime Kazekage," Minato revealed. The announcement stunned everyone. Naruko's calm expression cracked for just a moment. "Really? Did you have to tell the entire class? I wasn't planning to share that with everyone." The student's curiosity only grew, and Hinata raised her hand. "Then why does Naruko always come to school with Natsume?" "He is her cousin," Minato explained warmly. "Natsume's mother was married to the Kazekage, which makes him family. Naruko is, in a sense, both the daughter and niece of two of the strongest Yondaime leaders. And yes, she also carries the nine-tailed fox. On top of that, she has the potential to master the Hiraishin technique just as I can." Naruko blinked in surprise at that last part. "Wait, really? You never told me that. Wouldn't you like to learn together with your cousin?" Minato said with a smile. "That's part of the reason I came today, to choose my next personal students. As of tomorrow, Tsunade will step in as Hokage, which frees me to teach another team." The entire group nearly fainted from the announcement. 2 hours later, at the training field. Naruko woke from a short nap to find Natsume dozing peacefully on her shoulder. Nearby, Jiraiya was scribbling in his notebook. With a sigh, Naruko nudged her cousin awake. "Why are you leaning on me?" Natsume blinked sleepily until she spotted Jiraiya's notebook. With a frown, she marched over, plucked it from his hands, and, before he could protest, summoned a fiery chakra sphere and burned the pages to ashes. "Don't ever write silly things about me again, Jiraiya-sama," she said it with a smile, but the sparkle in her eyes left no doubt she was serious. Jiraiya gulped and nodded quickly before announcing that all of them had passed. He handed over their headbands. Natsume proudly tied hers around her forehead, while Naruko strapped hers neatly onto her upper arm before settling down with a book. After Natsume's excitement had calmed, the two decided to celebrate at Ichiraku Ramen. As always, Ayame and Tucci welcomed them warmly, already prepared with steaming bowls. Today was special, Natsume said cheerfully between bites. We finally graduated, we're official Jinan now. Manners, Natsume, Naruko reminded her gently, enjoying her own ramen at a slower pace. When her cousin reached over to sneak a bite, Naruko raised a small golden hand of dust to block her. Not this time. After finishing, Naruko excused herself and wandered toward her personal training grounds. Along the way, she noticed movement near the Forest of Training, an area only she and Anko usually explored because of its tricky environment. She made a mental note to check it with Anko later, then continued onward, her thoughts drifting toward the family she had yet to reunite with, her older siblings and her youngest brother. Letters from her father often mentioned that Gaara struggled with restless nights because of Shukaku's influence. Naruko silently promised that she and Kurama would speak with Shukaku when the time came, hoping to ease her brother's troubles. Naruko was nearly home when she heard a sound that always made her sigh with frustration, the loud voice of a fangirl loudly professing her admiration for her favorite shinobi. Sure enough, it was Ino, excitedly calling out to her beloved Sasuke-kun. Naruko's patience was wearing thin, so she walked up to her and spoke with a calm but firm tone. Ino, could you please keep it down? The person who lives here trains seriously, and I'm sure they'd prefer some peace and quiet. Seeing the surprised look on Ino's face, Naruko softened her words. Listen, if you truly admire someone, it's not enough to just shout about it. Show it through your actions. Find someone who can return your feelings just as strongly. If you keep chasing someone who doesn't feel the same way, you'll only make yourself unhappy when they find someone else. Ino paused, clearly thoughtful about Naruko's advice, while Naruko continued on her way home. When she arrived, she noticed the house was quiet and everyone seemed to already be asleep. She sighed softly and climbed the stairs toward her room. But something caught her attention. The window was slightly open, even though she remembered closing it earlier that morning. Strange. The only people who would ever sneak in through my window are Jiraiya, Kakashi, or Anko. Jiraiya wouldn't risk it after being scolded, Kakashi wouldn't do something so careless. Which leaves Anko. Either she's already been here, or she still is. Anko, are you still here? Naruko asked aloud. From the shadows, Anko stepped out with her usual confident grin. So you figured me out. Took you long enough. What kept you? Did you run into a kunoichi who wanted to keep you busy? Naruko gave a small blush but quickly returned to her usual composed expression. Anko chuckled before continuing. Since you've got a week before meeting your new teammates, you and I are going to clear some of the spiders from the training grounds near the Chunin exams area. She paused when she noticed Naruko looking a little downcast, then remembered, because the Chunin exams involved visitors from the sand, Naruko might soon cross paths with her family, something she hadn't done in a very long time. Naruko sighed softly, leaning into the friendly hug Anko offered. Their bond had grown ever since the day they first met in the Forest of Death. Flashback. Naruko had been wandering through the forest, unintentionally disturbing the enormous spiders that lived there, creatures so intimidating that even Anbu usually stayed away. Soon, she was surrounded. But before things could get worse, golden sand swirled around her, forming protective armor. Using her gift, she manipulated the sand to trap and restrain the spiders, pinning them beneath its immense weight. From a branch above, Anko had been watching carefully, debating whether she should call for Anbu support before the largest spiders arrived. Before she could act, however, one of the massive arachnids drew near. Thinking quickly, she launched several fire-style techniques, though the creature barely reacted. Just as things looked troubling, Naruko called out, "Saken no kushi zashi no ke." And several golden spikes shot forward, striking the giant spider. Together, their efforts drove the creatures away, breaking their hold over the forest. That day marked the beginning of Naruko's unexpected friendship with Anko. End of flashback. Later that night, Naruko let out a small yawn as she climbed into bed. Moments afterward, Anko joined her, resting beside her with ease. Naruko wrapped her arms around her friend, and together they drifted into a calm, peaceful sleep. When Naruko awoke, she noticed that it was still early and that Anko had not yet risen. She gently rested beside her, closing her eyes again until she heard a soft giggle. Opening them, she saw the faint outline of someone leaving the room. Jiraiya-sensei, if you're planning on writing anything about this, I strongly suggest you think twice. Please respect my privacy, Naruko said firmly, her golden chakra dust beginning to swirl faintly. Jiraiya quickly scurried away, leaving silence in his wake. Looking down, Naruko noticed that Anko was shivering, her curse mark faintly pulsing. Each time Naruko saw that mark, she felt a strong determination to one day help Anko be free from its burden. Together with Kurama, she had been studying sealing techniques to find a safe way to remove it. Long ago, Orochimaru had betrayed Anko during a battle, forcing the curse mark upon her. Thankfully, Minato, Naruko's father, had intervened and saved her before harm could be done. That moment had left a lasting impression on Naruko, and even now she silently vowed to support Anko no matter what. Anko stirred awake, rubbing her eyes. Naru-chan, I had that dream again. I really dislike it. It always brings back memories of that man. Naruko gave her a reassuring smile. Don't worry, Anko. One day, you won't have to be haunted by it anymore. I'll always stand by you. Anko leaned closer with a small sigh. I should probably head out now. If Hokage-sama or Kushina-sama walked in, they might misunderstand. Before she could stand, Naruko gently pulled her back. Stay. There's nothing wrong with being here, and I don't care what anyone says, I'll support you no matter what. At that moment, there was a knock. Naruko, are you awake? Called Natsume. Naruko, still lying down, used her Jitten ability to unlock the door without moving. Natsume peeked inside with a playful smile. I knew Anko-san was here. You don't have to keep secrets. Oh, and Naruko, can you help me with training later? Soon after, the three of them made their way to the kitchen where Minato, Kushina, Jiraiya, and Tsunade were already seated. The adults exchanged knowing looks as the younger trio entered. It's about time she admitted she was close with Anko, Kushina remarked with a teasing smile. I honestly thought it would take longer, Minato added with a chuckle. Tsunade smirked. I win the bet. Jiraiya groaned dramatically as she tossed a small notebook into the fire, much to his exaggerated dismay. Naruko crossed her arms with mock irritation. That's what you get, Jiraiya-sensei, for sneaking into my room earlier. Her golden dust playfully swirled around him, though harmlessly. After laughter filled the room, Minato turned serious. Naruko, Natsume, there is something important we need to share with the council today. Please bring Suki with you. This meeting concerns her as well. Later, at Suki's home in the Uchiha district, Naruko and the others arrived to escort her. Suki, who had lived under the guise of Sasuke, was relieved it was them and not Anbu. She smiled warmly at seeing Naruko and Anko together, though she blushed slightly when Anko teased her about having a small admiration for Naruko. Don't worry, Anko said kindly. Just be honest about your feelings. Naruko treasures people who are strong and sincere. With that reassurance, they all made their way to the council chambers. When the four arrived, Minato explained to the gathered leaders the truth. Sasuke Uchiha never existed. Suki had taken on that identity to protect herself and to train as a shinobi. Some of the civilian council members were shocked, but the clan leaders nodded in understanding. She is not to be treated as an object, but as a respected shinobi of the leaf, Minato declared firmly. Naruko stepped forward, her golden sand forming protective shapes around Suki. Anyone who disrespects her will answer to me. She is my comrade and my friend. The council room fell silent, and for the first time, Suki felt truly safe, protected by Naruko, Anko, Natsume, and the leaders who believed in her. Naruko was upset, as were the other shinobi in the room. Even Danzo, usually calm and collected, was unsettled. Despite still having his root operatives, he knew that ultimately, they all served under the Hokage. Hokage-sama, if you give the order, it will be followed, Danzo said firmly. Naruko glanced at Minato, who nodded in understanding. She steadied herself, her golden chakra dust swirling gently around her, a reminder of her strong will and heritage. Now, Naruko, Minato said, this next matter concerns you. Your father and I spoke last week. Since you will now serve as a Genin here, you are permitted to establish your family branch within the village. Naruko took a breath, her iron sand shifting faintly as a sign of her restless energy. A merchant in the room grew nervous, but before anything escalated, shinobi escorts quickly guided the man out, ensuring calm was restored. The council resumed its meeting. I suggest we continue the Ino-Shikacho formation this generation, Shikaku said, with Inoiki and Kuza nodding in agreement. Shibi added thoughtfully, perhaps a tracking team with Kiba, Hinata, and Shino would also be efficient. Tsume then spoke up, what of my daughter, along with Suki Uchiha and Naruko? Minato reviewed the academy records carefully. Very well. Here is my decision, Team 10 will remain the Ino-Shikacho trio. Hinata, who ranked as the fourth strongest kunoichi overall, will instead study directly under Kurenai as her apprentice. Team 7 will consist of Sabaku no Naruko, Uchiha Suki, and Namikaze Natsume, under my leadership. Team 8 will be Aburame Shino, Haruno Sakura, and Inuzuka Kiba under Inuzuka Hana. Team 9 remains as is. Team 10 will continue with Shikamaru, Ino, and Kuji under Asuma. Does anyone object? No one did. As the meeting ended, Minato leaned back in his chair, wondering how the village would react once they realized Sasuke had never existed in this world. A sudden commotion outside revealed a crowd of fangirls realizing they had been mistaken all along. Minato only sighed as Naruko quietly left with Suki and Anko. Later that week at the academy. Naruko, Suki, and Natsume sat together waiting for Iruka-sensei to arrive. With Mizuki no longer part of the academy staff, Iruka was their sole teacher. Suki, lost in thought, let out a sigh. Natsume immediately frowned. If you sigh again, Suki-chan, I'll be upset, she said, twitching an eye in mild irritation. I'll sigh if I want to, Suki replied teasingly, unfazed by her friend's reaction. Each girl now wore her new attire proudly, Suki in a modified version of her clan's uniform, Natsume in an orange and black outfit paired with black shinobi pants, and Naruko in a tan trench coat displaying both the Suna and Konoha crests. Naruko's gourd rested at her side, a familiar companion from her homeland. Iruka entered the classroom with his usual serious tone. All right, everyone, settle down. Kiba raised a hand. Iruka-sensei, where's Mizuki? Iruka paused, then explained carefully. Mizuki had an unfortunate accident during a training exercise in the Forest of Death. That area is extremely dangerous, and even our best avoid it without proper clearance. Let this be a lesson, certain zones are restricted for good reason. The class grew quiet. Iruka continued, normally, I'd give a long speech about how proud I am of all of you, but today I'll be direct. Each of you carries the potential to build your own legacy. Some of you are heirs to great clans, while others will find your strength through perseverance. Remember, your training is not just about missions, it's about becoming the kind of shinobi who can protect those who matter to you. The student straightened, the weight of his words settling in. Afterwards, the team assignments were finalized as Minato had declared in the council meeting. Team 7, Naruko, Suki, and Natsume, would be under Minato himself. The others were equally arranged with their designated Jonin leaders. When Minato appeared later using his Hiraishin technique, he summoned Team 7 to the rooftop. There, Kakashi was waiting, reading his favorite book, before joining them. Minato explained, we'll soon visit someone very important, an old friend and comrade. This will mark the beginning of your journey together. The three kunoichi exchanged glances, curiosity sparking in their eyes, as their new adventure was about to begin. Probably wondering why you haven't shared, Naruko said with a playful smile. She then stood up and gave Anko a warm hug. Leaning close, she whispered softly, I'll make sure you have a wonderful time. Anko blushed but returned the hug with a smile. They shared a light-hearted moment together, enjoying each other's company. Just as the moment grew even more cheerful, a knock came at the door. I need your help. Eviki called from outside. When he opened the door, he found Anko and Naruko still holding each other. He raised an eyebrow but before he could comment further, a clever trap of ropes and nets gently caught him. Anko and Naruko looked at him with mischievous expressions. Scarface-san, let's keep this between us, Naruko said with a grin. The two then burst into laughter, and Eviki couldn't help but shake his head in exasperation. Sorry, Anko, but I really do need your help, Eviki said. The person we caught, Kabuto, turns out to be a spy for him. Naruko and Anko exchanged determined looks, ready to assist. As they prepared to leave, Eviki glanced at Naruko. So, you're helping again? Naruko nodded confidently. Eviki smiled, thinking to himself, it's always reassuring to have Naruko on our side. Not many are brave enough to step up when she's involved. Naruko was observing the aftermath of Kabuto's capture. The moment the bag had vibrated into the room, Kabuto had quickly spilled the details of Orochimaru's plans without hesitation. Anko considered that, given Kabuto's extensive knowledge, keeping him under strict supervision might be the wisest approach. Eviki agreed, and Naruko stepped in, eager to test the Sasori puppet she had recently acquired. It was interesting to note that Kabuto had once admitted to spying for Sasori before switching allegiance to Orochimaru. Naruko knew she had important matters to address with her uncle after getting some much-needed rest. Glancing at the clock, she realized she had only a few hours before meeting her team. No point in resting now, she muttered to herself. Instead, she decided to maintain alertness with her usual strategy: plenty of coffee. Naruko made her way to a cafe established by a friend, Yuurei Anamoto, a year prior. The cafe was known for its powerful black coffee infused with ground ghost chili peppers, enough to awaken even the sleepiest visitor. After spending an hour enjoying the cafe's atmosphere and lightheartedly enduring Yuurei's playful questioning, Naruko continued toward the Uchiha district to meet a friend and see what new experiences the day might hold. Along the way, she noticed 3 individuals approaching the Hokage Tower who clearly were not part of Konoha's shinobi forces. One of them, a woman, wore a long-sleeved dark blue dress reaching just below the knees, partially zipped in the front but open from the waist down on one side. Underneath, she wore protective mesh armor covering most of her torso, paired with matching shorts and mesh leggings. A utility belt with a small pouch was strapped around her waist, and she wore high-heeled sandals and shin guards. Her polished nails and coordinated makeup completed her composed appearance. The second figure was a middle-aged man with neatly styled blue hair and an eye patch covering one eye, dressed in a gray suit with a green haori draped over it. The final individual had short, tufted blue hair, sharp eyes, and distinctive teeth. He wore black-rimmed glasses connected to ear protectors, a blue pinstriped shirt, and camouflage pants, with his forehead protector secured on a holster for his weapon. Additional shuriken holders were strapped to his legs. Naruko followed the trio from the rooftops, noticing the man with the eye patch leap gracefully to a nearby roof. "Watch your step," she called, releasing a shimmering cloud of gold dust from her trench coat sleeves as a gentle warning. The man hesitated, assessing her resolve. "Ow!" The man with the eye patch glanced at his young opponent as Mei and Chojuro appeared beside her. He assumed his numerical advantage would intimidate Naruko, but his confidence waned when she simply smiled. "So you think numbers will intimidate me? I've faced far greater challenges as a Genin. Now, who are you 3, and why should I not notify the Anbu forces nearby?" Naruko asked, her gold dust forming a faint, sparkling mist around her. Mei stepped forward, radiating calm. "I am Mei Terumi. The person beside me with glasses is Chojuro, and this is Ao. We seek assistance regarding the civil unrest in Kiri." Mei noted Naruko's neutral expression, so different from the typical looks of admiration or distraction she was accustomed to. Kurama seemed to confirm Mei's words. "I can take you to see Hokage-sama, though the situation may not be exactly what you expect," Naruko explained. She then gestured toward the seal on her stomach. "My connection with the Kyuubi allows me to detect chakra signatures, such as the one behind your eye patch," she added, leading the trio toward the Hokage's office. "So, where is your Anbu escort?" Naruko inquired, noticing their puzzled expressions. She gave a wry smile. "Clearly, the guards were too distracted to accompany you properly." Mei nodded, acknowledging the oversight. Naruko introduced herself formally as they entered the office. "I am Sabaku no Naruko, daughter of the Yondaime Kazekage and niece of the Yondaime Hokage. I am also the host of the Kyuubi no Kitsune and the godchild of Jiraiya Gamatotsu and Tsunade Senju." She bowed respectfully to Tsunade. "I was observing from a distance using Sarutobi-sensei's crystal ball," Tsunade responded, her attention on the visitors. "Why have you come, and what matters require urgency?" Mei nodded to Naruko, prompting her to activate the privacy seals in the office. Leaning casually against the wall, Naruko prepared to listen. "You may speak freely. As a council member, I will hear everything, and my input will help determine the best course of action," Tsunade instructed, encouraging the group to share their concerns. "Hokage Dono, I wish to request that a team be sent to assist us in confronting Yagura. We represent the bloodline users, and we are in urgent need of support," Mei stated. "Not to be impolite, but why would you need assistance against just one person?" Naruko asked, her curiosity evident. "Yagura is the Jinchuriki of the Sanbi. She is exceptionally skilled in utilizing her Bijuu's powers," Mei replied. "That is why we have come seeking help." Tsunade glanced at Naruko, who nodded confidently. "I will dispatch Genin Team 7 to assist you," Tsunade declared. "But a Genin team may not suffice." Ao began, sensing the determination and confidence of those standing before Tsunade. "Uchiha Suki, Genin of Team 7, present. Namikaze Natsume, Genin of Team 7, present. Sabaku no Naruko, Genin of Team 7, present. Namikaze Minato, Jonin Sensei of Team 7, present." As you can see, Ao-san, Genin Team 7 has been specifically prepared for situations like this. Namikaze Natsume is one of our top kunoichi and my personal student, trained alongside Jiraiya. Uchiha Suki, the last loyal Uchiha of the Leaf and a master of Genjutsu and lightning style, is our other top kunoichi. Sabaku no Naruko is our strongest Shin'an. She has an exceptional ability to harness the Kyuubi's chakra and possesses remarkable expertise in Jitten techniques. She is also a demolition specialist. Namikaze Minato is highly skilled and, with his signature techniques, brings a strategic advantage, Tsunade explained, impressing the Kirigakure ninja. Ah, Tsunade-sama, don't forget us, Obito, Rin, and Kakashi interjected as they entered. Obito wore Madara's red armor, Rin was in standard Anbu attire, and Kakashi was in his usual outfit. Ao and Kakashi exchanged a respectful nod. Rin noticed Mei and playfully tugged at Obito's arm, while Obito recognized Chojuro's familiar demeanor. So, Jinan Team 7, along with former Team 7, will assist you. How long before departure? Tsunade asked while filling out the S-rank mission form. 2 months. This gives us time to evaluate the abilities of our allies and ensure we are fully prepared, Mei replied. Minato addressed his team. You heard her. In 2 months, you three will face a significant challenge. Until then, training will replace the usual missions. Natsume, I will guide you in mastering the Hiraishin and Rasengan. Suki, Kakashi and Obito will assist you in refining your techniques. Naruko, you will receive Kenjutsu training with the Anbu. Training begins in 3 days and continues until a week before departure. The final week will be joint training with Mei, Ao, and Chojuro. The team nodded in acknowledgement. 2 days later, at Anbu headquarters. Naruko entered a training room where fresh Anbu operatives were gathered. She settled in a corner, reading a newly acquired book, Das and Don'ts of Warfare, A Soldier's Guide by Suijin Tagala. An Anbu with a cat mask approached, her long violet hair identifying her as Yugao Uzuki. I am Cat, your instructor. Naruko will train alongside you and should be treated equally. If she struggles, help her, if she excels, seek guidance. Welcome to training, Cat announced. 2 months later, the final day of training. Naruko stood confidently, having mastered the Anbu standard ninjato and a heavier katana. Her personal sword, once crafted by the famed Muramasa, had been harmonized with her chakra. It had a black blade with a dark red hilt, accompanied by an upgraded gourd for her Koku Tansuna, ebony sand, techniques. She had bonded with several Anbu, Nico, Kitsune, Tanuki, and Karasu, forming a synchronized unit that would serve as her protective detail during diplomatic missions as the Sabaku clan head. Exiting the training facility, Naruko noticed a commotion at the Dengo shop. Team 8 and Team 9 seemed poised for a playful contest. Just because you're older doesn't mean you're better, Sakura exclaimed at 10. Naruko stepped in, smiling as she grasped Sakura's shoulder. I'll take that bet. If 10-10 wins, you receive one of my weapons. If I win, you both participate in the fun activities I set for a month. 10-10, noticing Naruko's sword, grinned. You're on, 10-10 accepted. Neji emerged from the shop, observing the crowd and the wager. Who are you challenging this time? He asked. A redhead, 10-10 replied. Ah, the redhead who happens to be a clan head, the Kazekage's child, the Yondaime Hokage's niece, a Jitten master, and Kyuubi Jinchuriki? Neji remarked, bowing respectfully. I apologize on behalf of my teammate. I will ensure she understands appropriate conduct. Please extend my regards to Hinata-sama. Meanwhile, Anko noticed an auburn-haired woman observing Naruko. Naruko, do you know who is following us? She asked with concern. Yes, I do, Anko-chan. She is Mei Terumi, and also the client for the mission I have in a week. She seemed to think that her charm alone could influence me, but I pay attention to character, not appearances. She must be trying to sway me, but I won't let her distract me, Naruko replied, keeping her gaze fixed on Anko. Her friend blushed slightly, and Naruko allowed herself a small, satisfied smile when she noticed 3 young men approaching them with ill intentions. Step aside, kid. She's ours to deal with, the middle one said, his tone arrogant. Naruko's eyes narrowed, and she let her chakra swirl subtly around herself and Anko, ready to defend her friend. Hey Shinji, she isn't moving. What should we do? Another asked. Shinji paused, studying Naruko carefully. She's very strong. We shouldn't provoke her, she's a shinobi, and attacking her could have consequences. Naruko chuckled softly, then her laugh grew firm and confident. You really think just because I am a shinobi that I can't respond? I am a member of the Shinobi Council, and anyone under my protection is considered part of my circle, including my friends. So if you try to cause trouble, I will make sure you face the consequences. Realizing who she was, the trio quickly retreated, muttering in astonishment. Anko laughed quietly as they fled. I can't believe they actually thought they could succeed. To avoid further encounters, Naruko and Anko climbed onto the rooftops and made their way safely to Anko's apartment, where they locked the door behind them. The next day, as Naruko walked toward Training Ground 7, she noticed someone in an Onbu uniform following her. The person was likely loyal to Danzo. Sabaku-sama, I have been instructed to deliver this information, the masked kunoichi said. It's a file documenting the key events during your training. Thank you, Naruko replied. Just Naruko is fine. Please tell Danzo-san I appreciate it. Reviewing the file on her way to the training grounds, Naruko noted her friend's progress and accomplishments. She also observed that Orochimaru had established a new village called Otogakur, and she resolved to confront the challenges this might bring. At the training ground, only Mei, Ao, and Chojuro were present. Naruko quietly adjusted her chakra to remain unnoticed while waiting for her team. Suki arrived, scowling slightly at Mei. She seems confident, but I won't underestimate her, Suki thought. Natsume and Minato soon appeared, and the introductions began. Alright, let's start with introductions, Minato said. I am Namikaze Minato, former Yondaime Hokage. My name is Namikaze Natsume, daughter of the Akishi, Natsume added. I am Uchiha Suki, future head of the Uchiha clan, Suki said calmly. Naruko smiled. I am Sabaku no Naruko, daughter of the Kazekage, niece of Minato sensei, and Jinchuriki of the Kyubi no Kitsune. Ao added, I am Ao, formerly a member of the Hunter Nin of Kiri's Mist. Chojuro grinned nervously. I am Chojuro, part of the next generation of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. Mei said proudly, I am Mei Terumi, the user of both boil and lava release. Minato nodded. Now, we will assign roles for combat practice. Natsume and Mei will pair up, while Suki and Chojuro will complement each other's skills. Naruko and I will act as the primary force, using Kurama's chakra as needed. Be prepared for strong challenges, but work together and adapt to the situation. By the end of the week, the team prepared for a journey to Water Country. Mei and Suki were impatient, eager to begin. Naruko appeared shortly afterward, carrying a serious expression and a book titled Positively Pessimistic by Lawrence Blankenship, which she found surprisingly insightful. Minato arrived a few minutes later, narrowly avoiding Naruko's defensive chakra maneuvers, and the group set out together. After 2 days of travel, they reached a dock and met Kisame Hoshigake, Zabuza Momochi, and Raiga Kurosuke. Mei confirmed that the newcomers were allies, and the team began to familiarize themselves with each other during the voyage. While resting, Naruko spoke with Kurama and her mind. I wonder if one of my inherited abilities could be useful in the upcoming mission. Perhaps Sheikuten or Bakuten. Have you considered Enten? Kurama suggested thoughtfully. No, it's essentially an extremely advanced form of Katen that manipulates unique flames, usually akin to the flames of Amaterasu. How will I be able to use it again? Simple, Kurama replied. I'll let you use Foxfire. While it isn't as intense as Amaterasu, it's much harder to extinguish and, unlike those flames, it won't affect anyone you don't intend to target. That said, it's also easier to escape from. Got it, Kurama. I'll let you rest while we get ready to head to the rebel base. As Naruko awoke, she noticed that Natsume was resting against her, and Zabuza was observing them carefully. Hey, no brows, could you do me a favor and ask Minato to come get Natsume? She asked. Zabuza bristled slightly at the remark but obeyed, fetching Minato, who then guided Natsume to the room she shared with Mei and Suki. Naruko watched as the sun rose, noticing the sky tinged with an unusual deep red hue. An omen of challenge, she murmured. Her attention shifted to Kisame and the distinctive cloak he wore. Good morning, Kisame-san, she greeted. What do you need, Gaki? The blue, fish-like figure responded. So you're a member of Akatsuki? Who's your partner? Naruko asked calmly. Yes, I am. My partner is Itachi, Kisame replied honestly. He recognized that Naruko might eventually become a target, but if he could neutralize certain obstacles first, he could help her navigate the challenges ahead. Seimata, sensing his intent, shed a few scales, indicating that Kisame should give them to Naruko. Oi, Gaki, Seimata wants me to give you something, Kisame said, handing over 6 shimmering scales. These are hers and carry a bit of her chakra absorbing ability. If you integrate them into a sword, that weapon might gain a similar power. They have other unique properties as well, but only Seimata knows the specifics. Naruko sealed the scales into a storage seal on her arm and expressed her gratitude. She then noticed that Suki had overheard Kisame's mention of Itachi and appeared visibly distressed. Naruko quickly approached her, wrapping a comforting arm around Suki's shoulders, and led her to a quieter spot on the ship. "Hey, Suki, are you alright?" she asked softly. "Naruko," Suki began, her voice trembling, "that man works with Itachi, and it feels like anyone I care about ends up in their path. I'm just worried that if there's a confrontation, Itachi might be leading it. I want to understand why he made his choices, but not at the expense of your safety. Please. If you ever face him, do whatever you can to stop him, but promise me you'll stay safe." Suki's tears fell as she leaned against Naruko. Gently, Naruko held her, soothing her with calm, steady motions. Once Suki's breathing began to stabilize, Naruko tilted her head, meeting her gaze. "Suki, I promise to help you resolve this, and I will," Naruko said firmly. "I will stay safe, and I will not allow anyone to capture me. Together, we will face whatever challenges come our way." Dear YouTube family, this is all for now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more adventures. Your support means the world. Thank you for being part of this journey. Stay awesome. 6 Path Weeb.